Mark Sloan is Harris County's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Coordinator. He joins us now. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Craig.
I am very pleased that we get to discuss this topic without a storm bearing down on us. So, what are some other potential emergencies that you and other officials prepare for?
Well, there's a variety of risk and threat to Harris County. Our number one threat is actually flooding. Even though our proximity to the Gulf is always keeping everyone heightened on hurricanes, tropical weather, and unfortunately, in the past few years, we've had ice storms and snow. So it's a 365-day preparedness discussion that we have with our community each and every day. We have a huge petrochemical industry, so pipelines and chemical incidents occur. And then just everyday house fires and emergencies that can occur. It's important that our residents understand that they need to be prepared on beautiful days like today and not wait till there's severe weather in the forecast.
As you note, there's the everyday emergency that you're going to see from time to time, and then there are the things that are a little less typical, but maybe for our region, unfortunately, somewhat typical when we talk about things like, your chemical plant fire or explosion or something like that. How do you prepare for incidents like that? What are some of the steps that you take?
Well, it's about partnerships. It's about relationships with all of the jurisdictions within Harris County. There are 34 cities. So we work very closely with local fire departments, with our hazmat teams, as well as our industry partners in order to understand the capacity and capabilities of us being able to respond to those types of incidents. And it's also talking to the communities that are adjacent to facilities or around these types of hazards to understand how they plan, prepare in the event they're asked to leave or shelter in place. So it's a partnership that continues on a daily basis to collaborate and cooperate with each other.
Does it matter at all that the industries that we're talking about, that they tend to be regulated by Austin or Washington, D.C.? And I mean, you don't have any real regulatory responsibility or anything like that, but does it influence how you're able to respond in an emergency?
I don't think it hinders our capacity to be able to react and respond because we're trying to mitigate the situation to protect the public, the property, and the environment in a crisis that involves industry or petrochemicals or whatever it is. The regulatory are there to help put safety measures in place, but we always know that accidents occur, and then we have to be able to react and respond to those.
Tropical storms aside, there are a lot of weather-related emergencies that we have to deal with here along the Gulf Coast. Most recently in central Texas, of course, we saw those deadly floods on July 4th. And there was a lot of scrutiny at the time placed on the lack of updated emergency alert systems for residents there in central Texas. Are our systems here in Greater Houston up to date and able to adequately alert residents to immediate danger, say there's some sort of flood emergency?
I believe they are state of the art that we utilize in the Houston, Harris County area. We always are talking to our residents about registering for alerts to their local emergency management. You can do that at readyharris.org. So making sure that you have your alerts on so that you can receive information. We, being a large metropolitan area, have a lot of cell towers and capacity to communicate. When you get out into the hill country, there is less cell tower capacity and alerting, which was a topic of conversation during the legislature. But I think in this area, I think a lot of people pay attention to our partners in the media when we have a crisis. And we try to get it out there as many ways and as in many languages as possible.
You mentioned the county's alert system. Houston Public Media's Adam Zuvanich reported this summer that only a small percentage of Harris County residents register for the flood control district warning alerts. How do you get those numbers up?
Well, it's continuous outreach. It's talking to you and helping residents understand that getting information is crucial for themselves and their family and protecting their property. A lot of times people may not register with a local entity, such as Harris County Flood Control. They may register with Ready Harris. They may register for Houston alerts or in one of the other jurisdictions. So we want to be a force multiplier across the network of emergency alerts as possible, along with making sure that we can, broadcast countywide if we need to.
Yeah, if folks won't sign up for those alerts or they mute them on their phones and so forth, what other options are there to communicate emergency information to the general public?
Well, if we had to, and we work with law enforcement partners, if it's a crisis that we need to be able to go up and down streets with law enforcement and broadcast from their vehicles, we might have to do that. But again, it's individuals need to be able to understand that they can receive this information. We don't force people to do it, but we just want to make sure people are informed during a crisis so that they can protect themselves and their family. And I don't think that there's anything more important than taking care of yourself and your family. And just knowing information can help you take the appropriate actions to do that.
All right, so that's what needs to take place during the throes of a crisis. But of course, the whole point of your press conference today and really the year-round effort here is about being prepared in case of an emergency. A lot of people will think about stocking up on supplies as we head into hurricane season. They'll have maybe a kit or a couple days worth of perishable food and drink and so forth. But it's really a year-round thing, right? You got to have a certain amount of emergency supplies on hand, 365.
I believe that it's important that everyone can take care of themselves 3, 5, 7 days. I think your home is your kit. If you had to stay home for 5 days, could you survive if you couldn't go out because you were sick or you can't leave? I think a lot of us probably have resources in our home. We probably won't go to the cabinet and eat the soup that we had there because we really didn't like it in the first place, but we bought it, or crackers or other things. But could we survive? Is our home our kit? And if we had to leave, can we get the resources put together quickly in order to go somewhere? It's kind of like planning for a vacation, the way I look at it. We get very excited when we know we can go somewhere and we're going to relax, we're going to have time. But in an emergency, you got to take the same considerations. Where am I going to go? Where am I going to stay? Do I have the clothes that I need? Do I have the resources? How am I going to get there? Am I going to drive or a friend going to take me? Put that plan together if you had to leave. So I think that a lot of people don't look at it as such an importance as they do their vacations or the times they take away. But yes, having resources at home to be able to take care of yourself, your family, and don't forget about your pets for up to 7 days is important.
Some individuals, some communities across Greater Houston may be more vulnerable than others, may be more susceptible to, some serious risks in the midst of an emergency, whether that has to do with maybe we're talking about people who are homeless or hungry or lacking supplies of one kind or another. What are some ways that Harris County supports vulnerable communities and individuals leading into and then during emergencies?
I appreciate that question because it's very important that we take care of our entire community. And there are individuals that may need government assistance, and individuals can register by dialing 211 and register for government assistance if they need assistance in evacuation or just situational awareness because they are medically frail. And then we constantly are working with our homeless coalition. For those that reside outside, we have to be able to understand there's individuals that don't have a roof over their head. And we will work with our law enforcement partners to make sure resources are delivered or given to them or taken to a safe location during an emergency. But that is an ongoing everyday activity because every day individuals that are homeless are in a crisis that needs assistance and attention. And that's why we work closely with our partners on beautiful days like today, but also during severe weather events.
Part of the focus of today's news conference is a look ahead to next year and those World Cup matches that are going to be here in town. What are some of the things that you're doing to prepare to ensure that folks have a fun, safe environment there, and that whatever potential emergencies could come up, that the area is as prepared as it can be in light of those major events?
I think as Houston prepares for the World Cup, we've hosted numerous special events from the Super Bowl, World Series, and with the Astros, and had a lot of international visitors come to this region. So we're very excited about that. It's about partnerships. It's about making sure that we take the appropriate measures to make sure that it is a safe, exciting, fun event, not just for those that reside here in the Houston area, but those that are visiting us from around the world to come to these matches. So we have to prepare for who's going to be here, how do we communicate, how do we make sure that they understand how they fit into the big picture if something happens in the Houston-Harris County area.
You know, we spend a lot of time on this show, and really you see it across media, being reactive, spending so much time focusing on the thing that's happening in the moment and how we're all reacting to it in that moment. And I just appreciate you all are, contemplating things that are a little more proactive. We maybe need a few more of those efforts out there these days.
We appreciate that. I think that that's what our success is in this part of Texas and in our location of the Gulf Coast is being proactive and not reactive.
Mark Sloan is Harris County's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Coordinator. Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig.